Well, of course, we were shocked that once again, prominent Democrats caught violating their own mask mandates. The latest, Georgia Democratic gubernatorial candidate Stacy Abrams, social media blasting Abrams after posting a picture smiling, maskless, with a bunch of kids who, of course, were all wearing masks.
Of course, and this comes after California Dems were all partying it up last football Sunday maskless. Remember this? He was holding his breath,
and
of
the
course.
mayor.
Yeah, there he is. But remember, holding his breath the whole time. Remember when the mask was off, supposedly.
He actually thought people were going to believe that.
I know. I don't know what's crazier, this shot or the fact that he thought people would actually believe that line.
He didn't inhale. He didn't
Right, exactly. So what's the rules? Are they for thee, but not for me? Well, joining us now is longtime advisor to President Trump and senior RNC surrogate, Bruce LeVell. Bruce, great to have you here. Thank you so much. I want to ask you, because the Abrams campaign is firing back, as Bob was saying. This is amazing about the photo, making it all about race, saying in part, and I got to play this and get your reaction. This is amazing. Our opponents are using a Black History Month reading event for Georgia children as the impetus for a false political attack. Her campaign went on to say she, quote, trusts the science. Bruce, it's like it's our fault for accusing her. We can see it right there. We're looking at the picture. It's amazing.
Right there.
Yeah, well, hey, thanks for having me. I have to hold my breath also for this. But listen, this is Stacy Abrams at her best. And listen, I know she's not trying to accuse the GOP or the Republicans for race baiting, as you want to say, because she spends her entire time campaigning, weaponizing the COVID pandemic, weaponizing the fake voter suppression rule. So she is reaping what she sows right here. And she can't help it because, listen, one thing about Stacy Abrams, I'm here in Georgia. I know Georgia very well. She eats, sleeps, and drinks special interests. So the special interests are the ones that pretty much control Stacy and her messaging and where she goes. I mean, my God, Bob, President Biden came down to Atlanta and she had a scheduling conflict.
Yeah, that's right.
So that tells you the type of environment that these folks are in. So there's going to be more to come. And it's unfortunate that they've weaponized, once again, the pandemic and try to make out the Republicans as the big, bad boogeyman.
Right.
Toward the voters.
Well, yeah,
totally disingenuous.
What I wanted to ask you about, Bruce, is whether this will have a consequence that shows up in polling places, because there are a lot of people feel that what happens in the gubernatorial race will affect the Senate race as well. And so it seems like no matter what Stacey Abrams does, she's kind of like hands off from her followers. But are there people in the middle that say, yeah, I don't like that?
Well, let me put on my Georgian nonpartisan hat for a second here, Bob, which I try to do that a lot. Is remember, Stacey Abrams, she reminds me of a one-hit wonder.
Right.
You know, back in 2018 and all the hoopla. It's really not the same right now, Bob, because remember, this is the same person. Watch this. Number one, that weaponized her platform to go against and push the MLB out, which cost $100+ million of money and resources, which, by the way, Brother Bob, I have colleagues who own businesses like myself in Atlanta that suffered because as a result of her. Number two, during the riots, yes, and the uprisings across the nation, Stacey Abrams sat dead silent and would not speak up against the defund the police crowd, as we might say, the woke, and literally watched Atlanta burn or try to. So there's going to be more. And once again, Georgians need someone that comes in the middle. Yes, I'm going with David Perdue because I'm sick and tired. I just want someone to treat everyone the same equally. America first, Georgia first.
And he took a shot at Kemp, by the way.
Yes.
He connected Kemp to this. Saying,
right.
So go ahead.
Yeah, and by the way, as Bruce was just saying, Bob, speaking of these sort of double standards, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy looks like he's had an epiphany in the last few minutes, announcing that he is lifting the state's mask mandates for public schools. Now, he was very tough on it at first, but he's changed it, saying that it would go into effect starting March 7th.
Let's talk about that game.
The timing.
Yeah, why March
Yes.
7th?
Well, I believe that on March 1st, it's the State of the Union.
Mm-hmm.
President Biden, this comes a week later, then Biden can look like, oh gosh, he's the great guy. He's going to announce something, I think, State of the Union.
So Biden comes out and says mask mandates are going away?
And then I think Murphy rides on that and it looks like he's supporting Biden. That's our premise, Bruce. What do you think?
What do you think, Bruce?
Well, they're all trying to backtrack because listen, this really, watch this, guys. When they pushed out this heinous what rule, whatever they're trying to do on the mask mandates and everything,
right.
You have to understand what it does to a lot of the urban culture. And as our ministry helped many communities that don't have proper Wi-Fi, that had a single mom or grandmother trying to make 2 jobs versus leave the 10, 12-year-old at home for themselves. Listen, this has been going on for 2 years.
Yeah.
So this is a total bad situation, yes. Especially in Black America, and they know this. So they're trying to come back as to be the save-all. So you're absolutely right. The March 7, they're going to try to come out and say, well, everything just is fine. It's going away. Everything is good and everything. But listen, American people have not forgot. And they have good memories when it comes to this because a lot of people got hurt for the wrong way, using politics to get in the way instead of good common sense.
Yeah, by the way,
for sure.
When it comes to COVID, the cases of the past 14 days, the cases are down 57%.
An amazing amount.
So, and there are a lot of people, I don't know how they are in Georgia because I haven't been there in a little while. As you know, my sister lives there. When's the emergency over? I mean, isn't it time
Bob,
to move on?
From day one myself, I practice good health. I don't smoke. I don't drink sunshine, working out, vitamins. We said this all along, even in the small business community. We're 30 million plus strong in the country. We were fighting to say, look, let us govern ourselves accordingly. We can see the science just like you can.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, now they're talking about herd immunity. Bob, you've been saying this on the show, you and Heather, for almost 2 years about, well, what about natural immunity? What about? And so all of that went out the window. Now, miraculously, the common sense came into the fact because they realize that they're losing. It's a sinking ship, and they know they're dying. And listen, you got a president in the Oval Office sitting with barely 30% approval rating who won't even talk to the vice president. Vice president won't even talk to them. It's mass chaos. Who, by the way, real quick, Stacy Abrams wouldn't even show up when he came. The president of the United States.
I know.
And we never found out what she was doing either.
And that was her issue. It was voting reform, remember? So,
yeah.
And that was her big issue. Bruce LeVell, thank you so much for joining us. In the height of all this, too, I think about the Johns Hopkins study, too, that came out and said that the lockdowns are doing more harm than good.
They do more damage. And if they didn't... Go ahead.
Go ahead, Bruce.
What you heard it from me, when the American Dental Association gets all their information about all of this going on for 2 years, watch the gum disease, watch the tooth decays, watch all the things that's going on.
Yeah,
you heard
that
it from
too.
me right here.
Okay, Bruce.
Of course, an effect on kids, too. Big time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know, and that's another conversation. Thank you, Bruce.